Dave, Vice President of OUTFRONT, one of the largest out-of-home companies in North America, and I'm so excited to be here with James Blair, the Managing Director of Tribal, part of DBB, New Zealand. James and his team are a relationship agency focused on the unique approach of bringing data and creativity to everything they produce. So we only have a quick 15 minutes with James, so we're going to get right to it with two core aspects that make a great marketing campaign: creativity and measurement. So James, we have a lot of synergy because at OUTFRONT we also love the art and science of marketing. So tell me what's so unique and what you do bringing creativity and data at Tribal.
Cool. Well, pleasure to be here. Thank you for having us, and it's a pretty amazing spot to be. So, yeah, I think what we do at Tribal, as you said, really brings that sort of data and creativity together. And I think data and creativity have always been together, right? Since back in the 60s when advertising was in its inception and its creation. Data was still present. I suppose what's become really exciting is that we're getting more and more data, and data is becoming richer and I suppose more interesting in the things that we can create with it. So, I mean, we're here today to talk about iTest with the Brand Innovators team, and that is a perfect example of data and creativity coming together. That concept, which I can quickly describe, emulates an Android experience on an iPhone, and I suppose that becomes a very powerful tool for Samsung, who is our client in this instance, to get this technology into people's hands. Even if they were a little reluctant or a little unsure, you can have an experience with iTest, which is an amazing piece of technology. But it did come from a core insight. It came from a really strong data set before we even got underway from a creative perspective, and then it was the power of that creative idea that brought it all together. So, yeah, I mean, I think the world is forever changing. We've just listened to an amazing chat on AI on the way up here, and I think for us, data and its richness is going to become more and more of a tool that we're going to be able to use. Yeah.
Yes, I think we're going to be hearing all AI this
Yes,
year. It's the new metaverse and Web3 of last year, for sure.
Exactly.
So you touched on it a bit, but what's specifically bringing you to Cannes and the Brand Innovators stage this year? Yeah,
so it is iTest. We're here with our awesome Samsung New Zealand client. We've flown halfway around the world, or full way around the world, I should say, to be here to talk about it. And it's been a 3-year journey for us. So, as I mentioned, the concept itself emulates that Android experience on an iPhone, but it's an ever-evolving, ever-changing beast. And we have a team back in Auckland that manages the iTest product, and it's now actually called TriGalaxy. We've renamed it, and it's an ongoing piece of work that we're forever, I suppose, working to update in line with the latest user experience that is being driven through the Galaxy product.
Great. So you mentioned Samsung. I know it's one of your biggest clients. Being backstage at Brand Innovators, fill us in on the backstage insight of what makes switching for Samsung the hardest brief in advertising.
Yeah, well, I think it is. We've all grown up with different operating systems. So you're either an Android person or an iPhone person. And I think for us, the iPhone being sort of 50% of the market, back in New Zealand and in lots of other markets globally, means that there's a captive audience sitting there if only they knew what was on the other side. So switching becomes really important every time we launch a new phone. And for us, that comes around annually or biannually when we have a new Flip or a Fold or a new Galaxy product to launch.
Okay, so you said Samsung is your biggest client. Since we're backstage at Brand Innovators, fill us in on the backstage insight of what makes switching for Samsung the hardest brief in advertising.
Wow, all briefs are hard, right? But this one is in particular is quite difficult. I think we have a launch for Samsung twice a year, so a new Flip or a Fold, or a new Galaxy flagship device, and I suppose it becomes really pertinent at those times to try and get as many people onto those devices as possible. So we're going to get a lot of people off Samsung, but there's also a bunch of the people that exist on the other side of the fence, let's call them Apple users, that we need to try and coax and bring them across. But these guys have, on the Apple side, have grown up with those devices. It's natural to them using the software that's built into those phones. So it's almost impossible to switch because I think it becomes so daunting and so challenging. So for us with iTest, it was about creating a tool, and it's not the only tool, but it's a tool that we can use to aid that switching journey. It gives them an opportunity to play with the device without the pressure of being in store and having a salesperson breathing down their neck and saying, hey, buy this phone or that phone.
Right.
And so yeah, it's just a tool that we use alongside those phone launches to try and convince people to switch.
I love that. I come from a dual device household.
Wow.
My husband's on Android, I'm on iPhone, and the green versus
the battle
blue
lines
text,
are drawn.
it's difficult. It's difficult. So it wouldn't be CAN if we weren't talking about what's next. So
Yes.
what's next for iTest? What are you excited for this year and leading into next?
Yeah, so I think for us it's about trying to keep up with the amazing technology that Samsung puts out every year. So building in that iTest experience to be the same as what you would get on an Android device is the constant challenge. And for us, it's about when you look at these flip and fold devices. This is a flip 4, or fold 4, sorry. Trying to get this experience into iTest. And so, what could that look like across 2 screens, or what could that look like within the experience, so that people get a sense of what it's like to have one of these really cool devices. So, I mean, I think the thing for us is it's innovating as much as the technology will let us, and at the same time, doing the right thing to make that experience real and true to what it would be like on a Samsung device.
Amazing. Well, thank you for spending this time with us, and good luck on the main stage, and
Thank
enjoy
you.
the rest
Cheers.
of the CAN. Thanks.
Thanks.